All right, so I had to put the answers in here already because when I put it on the Google Doc and I write in the answers, unfortunately my computer freezes and you can't hear me, so that's not going to be helpful for us, right? So what I'm going to do is just go through these answers and how I got them and basically explain all the important information. So if we look at number 1, we're doing translations. So you saw on the Edpuzzle video for a translation, left 15 units, you're going to move your x value over 5 to the left. If you're moving to the left, you have your minus sign. If you're moving to the right, it would be a plus sign. When you move up, it's a plus sign. When you move down, it's a negative sign, which makes sense in our day-to-day life. If we're going left, usually that's a negative. If we're going down, that's usually negative on our coordinate plane. So if we're going left 15 units, we're moving our x value over 15 to the left, so minus 15. If we're going up 24 units, we're going y plus 24, which makes sense. Our x and y axis tell us to go this way. If we're going right 8 units, we're going to move the x plus 8. And if we're going down 4 units, we're going y minus 4. So then we want to graph ABC with vertices A of 4, negative 3, B of 0, 2, and C of 5, 1. And it's translated 4 units to the left and 3 units up. So for this one, they want you to draw your original and then physically move it. So in the next few problems, you're going to see we use a chart, which is definitely easier than this. But you need to know this knowledge of why it works before we move on. So first, we plot our 3 points. We have our A, our B, or C. And then we're going to move them all. So we're going to move it first. It says a translation of 4 units left. So we move it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we move it up 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's our new point right here for B. For A, we move it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And move it up. 1, 2, 3. And that's our new point. And that's why we call it A prime, B prime, because when we are using our primes, that's when it's our transformed image, and in this case, our translated one. If we move C over, we're moving 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1, 2, 3, and we have our C prime. And of course, all our lines should be straight. Miss Pollard was doing it on the computer, which is a little hard. And then what I really need is your coordinates. These are the most important parts. So if we look at A prime, it's at 0, 0, B prime is negative 4, 5, and C prime is at 1, 4. And that's the most important part here, or what are our coordinates of the translated image, so we know which way it went. So now this is a nice example problem for using the chart. So when we're using the chart, all we're doing is putting our original coordinates here, our little translated formula, where it's translated formula is the same thing as over here. So if it's saying that we're moving 2 units to the left, we're taking our x and subtracting 2, and then we're moving 1 up, you take your y and you add 1. So then you put all your new information in, so your x's and your y's into here, and you get your new point over here. So if we look at the problem I gave you, what you're going to do is you're going to put all your original points here. So I put my A, my B, my C, my D. And then I'm going to put in my little rule formula thing where it says translated 4 units to the right, so that's 4 to the right, and then 2 units down, we're going minus 2. So once we do that, we can plug our numbers in. So our x value here is 0, so 0 plus 4 is 4. Our y value here is 0, so 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Our x value here is 2, so 2 plus 4 is 6. And 0 is our y value, so 0 minus 2 is negative 2. So each time, this is always going to be 4, this is always going to be negative 2. We do 3 here, so 3 plus 4 is 7. 4 minus 2 is 2. 0 plus 4 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. And that's how we got our translated points. And all you have to do is give me this as your final answer. Make sure you have your primes so I know it's the translated one. So now we're going to find the rule. So it's basically we're working backwards. So instead of me giving you the rule and you're going to find the translated point, I'm going to give you the point and the translated point, and you're going to have to tell me what rule they used to get that. So if we look at this example, we don't even have to look at the pictures as much because sometimes the pictures confuse us. And yes, it's good to know that this is at 3, 3, but we get the same information if they already give it to us. So if we are going from 3, 3 to 2, 1, we're going to start with our original point as 3, 3. And then at the end, we have 2, 1. So we go from 3, 3 to our translated formula. So we have to plug in the 3 for x, the 3 for y, and we get 2, 1. So now we can ignore this side. This side's totally gone. We're just left with this part here. So we know that 3 plus a has to equal 2 from our translated formula, and 3 plus b has to equal 1. So when we do that, we subtract 3 over and we get negative 1. We subtract 3 over, we get negative 2. So now all we want is this part here. So we got our a is negative 1, our b is negative 2. We plug them in, and that's our answer. So you see that we go 1 unit to the left and 2 units down. So if I gave you an example problem, I'm not sure why this line is here, but if I gave you an example problem, it says point A is 5, 3. It is translated to become A prime 9, negative 3. So I want you to give me the translation like we saw before. So we're going from 5, 3 to 9, negative 3. We know that we have to plug in 5 for x, 3 for y, and then we get 9, negative 3. So we do 5 plus a equals 9. 3 plus b equals negative 3, and split them up to separate equations. And we've seen how to solve for variables before. So we subtract our 5 over, we get our a as 4, we subtract our 3 over, and we get our b as negative 6. So our final answer is going to be x plus 4, y minus 6. So that means we are going 4 to the right and 6 down. And you can check if that makes sense. You can see that if we go up 4, 5 plus 4 is 9. If we go down 6, 3 minus 6 is negative 3. So it worked. You could check your answer that way. So now we have triangle PQR has vertices 0, 0, 5, negative 2, and negative 3, 6. And we want to find the vertices of P prime, Q prime, R prime after the translations. So we have 6 units right and 5 units up. So we have x plus 6, y plus 5 as our translated equation, and we start with our original 0, 0, 5, negative 2, negative 3, 6. So we plug in 0 for our x. 0 plus 6 is 6. 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 6 is 11. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And 6 plus 5 is 11. So you're just plugging and keeping on going. Just plug in. And if this chart is a little confusing to you, you could just use it without a chart. You can make simple equations. Now we're doing 8 units to the left and 1 unit down, so we're using our minuses. So they want you to get used to using your minus and negative signs together. So we have 0, 0. We plug it in, and we get 0 minus 8, which is negative 8, 0 minus 1, which is negative 1, 5 minus 8, which is negative 3, negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3. We have negative 3 minus 8, which is 11, and 6 minus 1, which is 5. So you're just plugging in your x and your y values. That's all you have to do to get your new point. Now, instead of me giving you the words, I'm giving you the formula in the middle. So that's one step that's easier, that you don't have to make it up yourself. You should know what it is just looking at this. So I just plugged them in and went. So I put in 9 for the p, 9 minus 5, 3 plus 3, by plugging into here, and we get 4, 6. Then we plug in 4 minus 5, which is negative 1. 7 plus 3 is 10. Then negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. We have to be careful with our plus and minus signs. Sometimes we'll do negative 2 plus 3 is 5. That doesn't make sense because it's negative 2 plus 3. So make sure you're careful with that. Then we have 0 minus 5, which is negative 5. And then negative 5 plus 3, which is negative 2. So those would be your new vertices. P prime is this, Q prime, R prime, and S prime. 2 more. So we want to find the translation given that P is 10, negative 8, and P prime is negative 1, 4. So this is what we saw before, where we want to get from xy to x plus a, y plus b, where this is going to be negative 1, 4. So we plug it in. So we'll have our 10 as x, or negative 8 as y, and we have to find our a and b. So we know that 10 plus a equals negative 1, negative 8 plus b equals 4. Subtract 10 over, and we get negative 11. Add 8 over, we get 12, and put them back up here. So we'll have x minus 11, y plus 12, and that would be, this should be a y. That would be your final answer. Make sure you have this as a y. y, y. Finally, we have our one little challenge problem. I always want to give you a challenge problem each time. So it's saying that the quadrilateral has these vertices, and first we translate it with this formula, then we translate it with this formula, and you want to be able to tell me after the two translations what it is. So if this is confusing, just don't look at these three. Start here. So we have our original, and we're going to plug it into our formula. So when we plug it in, we do -2 plus 2 is 0. -2 minus 1 is -3. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. -3 plus 2 is -1. 5 minus 1 is 4. So we have now, after our first translation, these points. So we would call this K prime, L prime, M prime, and N prime. That's what we've been doing already. So now for the step up, we have to do it once again with our x minus 3, y plus 4. So we plug it in. 0 minus 3 is -3. -3 plus 4 is 1. So that's our final point. Our K double prime is -3, 1. Then 3 minus 3 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. Good to go. 2 minus 3 is -1. 3 plus 4 is 7. Good to go. And -1 minus 3 is -4. 4 plus 4 is 8. And those are our 4 points. And that's what our final answer would be. So this is basically everything you need to know for translations. If we were in class, I would make you do more of the graphing. But because we don't have as much graph paper, because it's more important that we get our points, this is what I want you guys to do. So if you have questions, please email me and I'll try to guide you as much as possible. We could set up a Zoom meeting, whatever you need to help you.